It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports,
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. And that's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated with style and durability. You can trust Tervis tumblers to keep your drinks the perfect temperature, hot or cold, for hours. From the classic insulated tumblers to sleek stainless steel water bottles, each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Since our founding, we've been revolutionizing hair removal with cutting-edge technology and a commitment to empowerment. The U-Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. Experience the future of hair removal today at ulike.com, because at U-Like, beauty is about looking and feeling good. That's ulike.com. U-Like. With Ease US, make studio-quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects, featuring 468 natural AI voices. Customize the volume, mood, and pauses to perfectly match your content. Plus, capture high-quality videos with no watermark. Record your screen, webcam, and voice, and save them instantly to your computer. Never been easier to create professional-grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US.
Just use AMP-Pace.
AMP-Pace.
The Pete Sousa Show. What's happening? We are live from Central Texas, high atop the Alico building on the 21st floor here. And in 1 week from now, we will be overlooking McLean Stadium as Baylor is set to play Auburn. Can you believe it? I just talked to my buddy John Tobias, ESPN stats guy. He is on a plane right now, headed to Portland for week 0, where he's going to do stats for George Sedano. Sedano has the Portland State, Tarleton State game that's going to be on ESPN2, I think, tomorrow. I love these games. Last year, Tarleton played McNeese in a week 0 game. I remember Lowell Galindo called it, and I was stoked because I had Baylor and Tarleton the next week. So I got to watch that game and sort of get the book on some of these college teams that are playing in week 0. It's just a great time, man. We're there. We are there pretty much. The Pete Sousa Show, of course, presented by Slovacics. My man Ray, make sure you go to Slovacics. Peep that place. You're going to see it on the highway when you're driving down 35, especially now people that are going to be coming to town to watch Baylor, to watch SMU, to watch TCU. Maybe you're going to see UT. If you're using 35, you're more than likely going to pass Slovacics. And it's an experience. Go ahead. Stop in there, okay? Kolaches, whether you really need to legitimately gas up or just gas up emotionally. That's a place you want to go. Connecting with cool people while you're ordering some food. And then, of course, there's a ton of stuff in there you can grab if you like knickknacks like me. Also, you can't forget about Sikora Family Ford. They're a part of everything we do. Sikora Family Ford and Slovacics and Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers have been with us since the jump. And we love them for that. And of course, First National Bank of Central Texas, our boy Dan Ingham, back in the cut again this year. Dan, really hoping that Oklahoma State does better this year. And I do too. And the only thing that's not a question mark is Mike Gundy. And that was the biggest question mark during the offseason. I have faith that he will restore this team to at least a bowl appearance. Beyond that, seems like it's going to be a tough deal for the Cowboys. Inside the 12, by the way, went on the air last night. It was on True TV, and it was on all your local affiliates in Big 12 country, HBO Max too. So if you haven't seen it, make sure you check it out on the Big 12's YouTube page as well. Myself and Taylor McHarg, we got a chance to get into all kinds of cool stuff. Talk to the commissioner. Taylor has the book on all the quarterbacks. He played quarterback at Rice, obviously, and he played quarterback at Rice. So he's a smart guy, I promise. All right, let's get into the big story today. Once again, we open with the Dallas Cowboys. And really, why wouldn't we? It's almost impossible now. If you are living in August 22nd of 2025 today, you will see the Dallas Cowboys somewhere at some point today, unless you are totally disconnected and live under a rock. Now, when I say disconnected, I don't mean disconnected from people and relationships. I just mean sometimes it can be good to be disconnected. That means you're not on social media. Maybe you're not watching TV. But if you're watching this, you are. I bring it up because as terrible as the Cowboys football season was last year, and as really, again, I go back to my TV news days, like the speak we used to use, like, this morning, we've got more questions than answers surrounding the Dallas Cowboys regular season and what will happen on the football field. Like, we would say stuff like that. And we have more questions than answers right now regarding the Cowboys football team. But what we don't have to question is I don't even want to use popularity, but let's just say the presence, the overwhelming presence of the Dallas Cowboys, wherever you look right now. The Netflix special, Jerry Jones sat down with Michael Irvin and Stephen A. Smith. He literally sat down with Stephen A. Smith. He did one of those old Jerry things. Like, he is literally sitting knee to knee in Stephen A. Smith in this interview that is going to come out later today on Stephen A.'s YouTube page, and they're teasing it this morning on ESPN. He's sitting so close with Stephen A. that he can tap him on the knee when he gives him a big, let me tell you something, how we do it at the Dallas Cowboys. And if you notice, by the way, part of this marketing maven that Jerry Jones is, part of the makeup, and he talks about it during the documentary, which I find to be totally compelling and interesting. Like, he legit is like a P.T. Barnum, dude. He is like a Donald Trump, right? He is somebody who sells the sizzle just as much as the steak, and it's work for him. The ball bounced his way early in life with oil wells and money, and now he's got it, and he's found a way to make more of it, and he's not going anywhere until, God calls for him, like he will for the rest of us. David Klingler yesterday said the death rate is one for one person. Like, we're all going at some point. But while Jerry's here, he's certainly making a lot of money and quite an impact. But going on Stephen A. Smith and talking with Michael Irvin, ultimately about Micah Parsons, it's like he's on a press tour right now. And as much as I love it, and as much as I find all this stuff interesting, and as much as it's like, it really is, it's really been cool to kind of sit back, put up your feet, and take a deep dive into the Cowboys history. And also just, Jeff Pearlman yesterday, who I love, maybe disagree on some big picture life stuff. But I almost feel like he's a friend because I've read every one of his books or listened to him. I have actually read a couple. And the book he did about the Dallas Cowboys, Boys Will Be Boys, goes into, it covers the 90s Cowboys. And so I bring up Jeff Pearlman because Jeff says, this documentary is a hand job for Jerry Jones. Like, that's what it is. Scotty agrees. Go ahead, Scotty.
I was just going to say, not only does Scotty agree, but our boy Bear the Truth says, as a Cowboys fan, I'm saying this. The Netflix doc, Jerry commercial, is a PR ploy to take the attention away from the train wreck of the past 20 years.
I mean, look, it'd be hard to argue that. I mean, it really would. And Bear the Truth knows. He's dialed in. Hey, what was the name of that Mexican restaurant, Bear the Truth? They did everything but say the name, by the way. And I know your friend used to own it. But they did, where Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones had that, meeting that was supposed to be quiet, where they're both wearing suits and ties, and somehow ended up on the front of the Dallas Morning News. We should have known then that this guy was
Mia's.
There you go. But we should have known then that this guy was going to do anything he could to get his face out there marketing wise. So, but all of this stuff is so enjoyable and fun. But at the end of the day, they got to play football here soon against the Philadelphia Eagles on September 4th. And some of the stuff that I gleaned from Jerry's conversation with Stephen A. Smith and with Michael Irvin, a couple things. One, when you let a guy talk so much, like Jerry Jones has been talking so much recently, they sort of end up exposing themselves, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't take a rocket scientist or a psychologist to understand that Jerry Jones is someone who, at 83 years of age, is really... He claims that he's softened a little bit. He hasn't softened. I mean, as a man, I'm not saying he's not a great person, and I'm not saying that he ultimately has pure intentions as to what he wants for his players, his team, and the city of Dallas. I don't really dispute that. He's not like a bad guy, in my opinion. If anything, I think he's really a charismatic figure and is totally alluring, and I'm here for it. Now, I say all this as I pat my Eagles helmet. Like, I don't have to live in the pain that the Cowboys fans live in. I'm an NFL fan. I'm a sports junkie. So all of this I love to consume. And part of the consummation of this is understanding that Jerry Jones is so wealthy and at such a point in his life that he is certainly not going to change the way he does business. So when you hear, by the way, one of the luckiest guys in this whole situation, I don't care what they say, I know he was one of the most powerful football agents. I did not know who David Mulligetta was prior to any of this. And now he has become, like, you keep hearing his name, and people are saying his name more because Jerry Jones refused to say it, along with Stephen Jones. So now everybody wants to say David Mulligetta, David Mulligetta. So he's a winner in this. I don't care what you say. Definitely a winner. And Micah Parsons ultimately will be a winner. Jerry said to Stephen A. Smith, and this is the passive-aggressive stuff that can get frustrating for Cowboys fans and for Micah, I'm sure, when he says, if you guys knew what I offered him, basically, like, this is a manipulation, right? If the working class knew how much I offered this young man to play football for the Dallas Cowboys, you would understand. And he goes on to say he offered him more money. He would have been the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. And he says that he and Micah completely worked out the guaranteed money and the length of the contract. But obviously there's other things that are still out there that they couldn't agree on. And after that situation happened where Micah and Jerry met in March for a meeting that Micah thought was all about leadership and team stuff, and Micah makes it sound like he was hoodwinked, and he may well have been, into negotiating a deal. And now you're at a point where it's a he said, she said, totally, which is like, come on, who wants to exist in this environment? I have to say one thing. First of all, Stephen A. Smith, for his interview, and he invited Micah Parsons and he invited David Mulligetta. They both shut it down. But of course, Jerry was available because he's PR, right? I mean, that's it. He's PT Jones. So he went on the interview, which is an hour long, which I'm going to watch later today or tonight when I have time. As I'm prepping for week 1 Houston SFA. You can watch that on ESPN next Thursday night. But I will tell you, I respect the fact that Jerry Jones has stayed the same way throughout all of this. But there with one caveat, and I'm going to get to that, and then we're going to talk with Steve Walsh here, former Miami Hurricane great and former NFL great, and Dallas Cowboy, New Orleans Saints. Actually finished up his career playing with Peyton Manning and the Colts in 1999. Maybe we'll tap into that a little bit. Of course, I want to find out his Jimmy Johnson insight there. But when you get to Jerry Jones and you talk about the fact that history states, like, and I know this just from being a fan, he's really never negotiated with agents if he can help it, right? Like, it's not like a Micah Parsons thing. It's not like, let me take advantage of this generation as opposed to the old one. He's always expressed that, by the way, and this makes sense, I know he's the owner. He knows he's the owner, but guess what his title is? General manager. So it's not, and he is the GM of the team. Like, there's nobody else except for Steven, right? But like, Jerry Jones is in charge of personnel and contracts. So I know he's the owner, and I know people see him as an asshole, but at the end of the day, that really is his job, whether he's good at it or not, is to negotiate the contracts. So it's not like this is something new that he's doing. Now, you can look at it another way, just from a moral standpoint. Like, he's 25 years old, Micah Parsons is. Jerry Jones, I think the Cowboys, I think it's $12.6 billion, right? Like, he's got the cash, but he's a man of principle. And especially at this phase in his life, he won't break. Now, and I'm going to bring it back to the Cowboys doc, and I remember this situation. I remember my brother Michael and I watching the game. It was an NBC game, and it was 1993. And the Cowboys were losing to the Buffalo Bills, where they would be at 0-2, right? And the whole time, Emmitt Smith had been holding out. And guys, let me tell you who a big winner in this documentary is. Forget all the smoke and mirrors with Jerry Jones. It's a great reminder of how good Emmitt Smith was. I know that offensive line, the Great Wall, was amazing. Emmitt got the ball, boom, and he was downhill. I think it was probably a lot of the confidence that actually was born out of playing behind such a good offensive line. I have to imagine that helps a running back in the way he attacks holes. And when you get the ball and you don't think you're going to get your ass kicked like right away, you know, that offensive line was really good. And so was Emmitt Smith. And he was a rookie of the year. I think he was offensive player of the year. And he led the league in rushing 2 straight years. And he's still on his rookie deal during all of this. So he's like, hey, man, I want to get paid what I'm worth. And that leads to the holdout. But at 0-2, the Cowboys, after losing to the Bills, and I knew the story because I read it in Perlman's book, but Jerry Jones is in the locker room after that game where they're 0-2. Now, the team had just won the Super Bowl. And Charles Haley throws his helmet at the wall, which was nothing new for Charles Haley. And it really almost hits Jerry Jones. And Charles is like, dude, he gets in Jerry Jones's face and says, we won the Super Bowl last year. Like, what is your problem, dude? How can we not make this work? You know, you got a ton of money. We got the best running back in the world who's not on the football field, and we're 0-2. And as according to Jerry, he says, hey, Charles, like, let's not do something we're both going to regret. And if you're just parachuting in on football and the NFL and Cowboys history for the first time, Charles Haley, who, you know, has dealt with mental health throughout most of his life. And it seems like he's won the battle if you talk to people. And that's really cool because he was one of the best players I've ever seen as a pass rusher, right? But Jerry did finally wilt, right? And he finally gave in. But it was an 0-2 record after a team had come off winning a Super Bowl, where I think he really understood, like, the time is now. I can't afford to let the best running back in the world sit on the sideline. I think it's different with Micah Parsons. I do. I think Jerry has gotten harder. I don't think he's scared of anybody, maybe like he was in the face of a guy like Charles Haley. I don't think he's going to buckle. I think if Micah Parsons means business, he's really going to have to sit out, which is how you win negotiations against a guy like Jerry Jones. That's my opinion. There's people out there who know way more than me, but that's what it feels like right now. The Pete Sousa Show is presented by Slovacics, and we are lucky enough to be joined coming up by Steve Walsh, one of my favorite gunslingers of all time. I grew up watching Miami, Notre Dame, Cowboys football, and the NFL. So Steve Walsh was in the eye of that storm, or we could say hurricane, right? Early in my life. The Pete Sousa Show is presented by Slovacics. I think I've said my name enough. Scotty, let's take a break, and we'll come back with Steve Walsh.
Did you know nearly all stock price changes of 10% or more result from a single news headline? These news catalysts create trading opportunities every day. All you need is a little help to reach out and take them. It doesn't matter if your investment budget is small or big. All you need is Benzinga Pro and its powerful news alerts, price tracking, and portfolio monitoring. Subscribe now, and we'll skyrocket your portfolio today.
OsleyMD.com. I've always had thin hair my whole life. It breaks off at a certain length. In the last 6 months, I've noticed it just really bad. I mean, you could totally see it. I wear a hat a lot. I tried several different products. My experience with the Bosley MD hair regrowth kit was amazing. It was easy to use. It let me take off my hat. I could go in public and have my picture taken and feel normal again. OsleyMD.com.
Golf Partner, the world's largest golf store network, offers more purchasing opportunities than anywhere else. With a dominant market share and a wider selection of quality secondhand golf clubs than our competitors, we make it easy for you to enjoy the game with affordable, top-quality equipment. Join us at golfpartnerusa.com and discover why we're the trusted choice for golf lovers worldwide. That's GOLFPARTNERUSA.com. Golf Partner.
Since 2003, Bluehost has been empowering people to harness their brands online with innovative web hosting solutions. Trusted by over 2 million users, we're the longest-running WordPress.org recommended host. With Bluehost, you get a safer, better web experience, supported by the world's most popular site builder, and backed by our commitment to open source projects. Visit Bluehost.com today and take your website to the next level.
Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internex. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. Enjoy seamless, fast storage without compromising security. Visit Internex.com today and take control of your digital life. That's INTERNXT.com today.
Apollo Neuro is a new kind of wearable that helps your body recover from stress. It's like a wearable hug for your nervous system that helps you calm down and feel better. The Apollo wearable will send gentle vibrations to your body, like a song you can feel instead of hear. You feel better, you sleep better, and you can get back to being yourself. Learn more at apolloneuro.com.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com. Elevate your experience with Grenco Science, the leaders in cutting-edge vaporizers. Whether you're at home or on the go, our sleek, powerful devices deliver smooth, consistent hits every time. Quality you can trust, innovation you can feel. Grenco Science. Take your vapor game to the next level. Visit us at GrencoScience.com.
It all began with a simple idea, cutting handles off old ski sticks to create better pull-up bars. This sparked the creation of the revolutionary Engels 90 handles. After testing over 70 prototypes with 300 athletes, our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
It is the Pete Sousa Show right now. We are efforting Steve Walsh. I just touched base with our executive producer, Chris Visser. Let's see what the big guy can pull off. I mean, he is Chris Visser, for crying out loud. One of our all-time favorites. By the way, another big winner in the Cowboys doc is his sister, Leslie. I had forgotten the end of that Cowboys, or the beginning of that Cowboys run, was when the NFL was on CBS before Fox got the contract. Now, she obviously, with her contract with CBS, worked with Madden and Summerall. So she was number one, the top dog. And boy, she was unbelievable. So a lot of real cool Leslie Visser stuff there. I mean, she literally, you want to talk about like breaking the glass ceiling? Yeah, she smashed it as a sports writer. And then obviously just everywhere in media following that stint early in her career in Boston. But Scotty and I, we actually, I don't want to break, well, we're going to do something with a gambling site here, a contract coming up. I actually have paperwork I have.
Hey.
It is a national gambling site. So why not talk a little bit about some odds, right? And I'm not letting the cat out of the bag yet. That's up to Corey. By the way, Corey wants, we have to do our, we have to do the show 90 minutes on starting September 2nd.
When was he going to tell me this?
Oh, I guess I was supposed to tell you. I just told you. We got time to ramp up. What's another 90 minutes? I mean, honestly, I could go 3 hours, Scotty. If you got to balance the times, I understand. But I'd love to have you here. So, you know. By the way, Steve Walsh is not here. We're waiting on him. I texted Chris, so we'll find out. We'll keep you posted on that. I would love to talk to him. Right now, though, we mentioned that gambling site that we're going to do a contract with, a site you've heard of, which I don't want to announce it yet because I don't want to get fired. So we're going to talk gambling odds, though, and the Heisman Trophy. This is one of the most alluring Heisman classes in a long time because 2 words, Arch Manning. Arch Manning is the favorite to win the Heisman at plus 700. Then Cade Klubnik at Clemson is plus 900. I get him right out. I don't think so. Right now, I'm just going to go through and I'll tell you who I feel good about. And Scotty, you can jump in at any time. Okay. Arch. Okay. You got it. Arch is favored. Then you got Klubnik. Then you got Garrett Nussmeier. Nah, I don't think so. Jeremiah Smith plus 1,200. Now, here is the interesting one. Remember, as we continue to effort Steve Walsh, Carson Beck plus 1,800 for what I see at Miami. What do you have him over there?
Did you do bet MGM like you told me?
Oh, no, I'll do MGM. I'm on FanDuel.
Oh.
Hold on.
The man tells me to get a bet MGM
you're right.
graphic.
Well, and why did I tell you that? Because it's regal.
Regal. That was the word you used.
MGM's still kind of regal. When you think about MGM, you can still think about the Rat Pack and all that stuff. Okay, I'm back. Okay. Oh, so this is different now. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Steve Walsh is here?
Yeah.
That's nice. If he's ready, I would love to bring him in. Let's give him a second to get set up. I'm looking at you. I want to look at Steve Walsh. Steve Walsh. Hey, Steve.
Hey, buddy.
What's happening, man? Thank you so much for making the time.
Yeah, no problem. Sorry, cut out there for a second. So
all good. Are you?
How's it going? What are we talking about today?
What are we talking about? We're talking about you. We're talking about Miami, Notre Dame, your experience with the Cowboys and in the NFL.
Yeah, let's do it.
There's a lot to cover. I want to jump right into it with the Canes. I grew up, football player. Those were, shoot that right into my veins, man. Honestly, Miami, Notre Dame was just a real gift for football fans at the time. can you convey at all to the person who wasn't around for that rivalry? And one of the cool things is the Miami Notre Dame rivalry nowadays, it just won't have the same, juice. But we're going to be talking about your games a lot coming up here, leading up to this opening game. What do you remember about that rivalry that just made it so special?
Well, it's funny because we got the game coming up August 31st, kickoff to the season. Obviously, two highly rated teams, a good matchup for right out of the gate. Generally, you try to play a directional schools to get an easy win under your belt. But right out the bat, and I don't know if Miami's 7 and Notre Dame is 10 or other way around, something like that. But it's going to be a good matchup. Obviously brings back a lot of memories of the late 80s, when I played. And we were actually trying to, there's a good friend of mine from St. Paul who played on Notre Dame's team. And we were together in Chicago. And he's like, we should just get the groups together. And, we haven't really been able to kind of have a little reunion of that game. Obviously, the Catholics versus Convicts 30 for 30 episode, which is hugely popular, is talked about a lot. And so I'm like, well, yeah, that sounds good. I said, but Pat, we lost the game. How am I going to get the Miami guys to go to that? We lost it. So we were thinking about it, and even the director from the Catholics versus Convicts, Patrick Creedon, was saying, well, why don't we celebrate the '87 Miami team, the '88 Notre Dame team, and the '89 Miami team? Well, those were 3 straight national champions. So if you think about it, the teams played those 3 years. In '87, Miami won 27-24 nothing, something like that. And then obviously the historic game in '88 where Notre Dame won by 1 point. They went on to win the national championship. And then the next year, and I didn't know this, but they played, that Thanksgiving weekend. Notre Dame was 11-0 and ranked number 1. Miami was ranked, I believe, number 7, and they had lost once. And then Miami beat them, and then they went on to beat Alabama in the Sugar Bowl and win the national championship. I mean, so it's kind of, for the younger fan base, it's kind of like, Alabama versus Ohio State over the last, 5-ish years, those types of matchups. That's what it was.
So you mentioned Pat. That's Pat Ehlers, right?
Pat Ehlers, yeah.
Yeah. How are you? So you're buddies with Pat Ehlers? That's amazing.
So Pat went to my rival high school. It was an all-boys Catholic military school, which was the same as mine. I went to Cretan High School. He went to St. Thomas Academy. And so we played them, and we had not beaten his team in 18 years. We finally beat them. And actually, in the regular season, we lost. And Pat picked me off like twice. And then we beat them in a sectional playoff game. It was crazy for us. It's obviously a big memory for all of my classmates because it was the first time we had beaten that school in 18 years. So anyway, so that's kind of our background was from high school. And then here we are playing, major college football. And then we were actually, ironically enough, we were teammates with the Chicago Bears.
How about those, when you go back to those games and the hype around them, they were like Tyson fights. That's what it felt like. And Miami was kind of like Tyson. What was it like, that pregame scuffle, right, at South Bend? You were right in the middle of it. And as a fan, it was just like, oh my God, like this can't get any bigger or better. Like that pregame scuffle, like what about it do you remember?
Well, a few things. First of all, I'll preface with this. Not every game was on TV. It's not like it is now where you can get any college, whether it's on demand or, ESPN Plus, whatever you want to, whatever networks. Fox has got a bunch of them on there, right? It's hard to, back in the late 80s, there was only a handful of games on the networks. And every big game that was on national TV, it was like, all right, we're going to get in a fight today. Because it was just like that was part of our image, I guess. And so it was the end of pregame, and we were on the far end of the stadium. They're on the end closest to the tunnel, and it was like what I said in that documentary is like, are we going all the way around them, or are we just going to go through them? And like, let's go through them. and they didn't like that. So it was, that tipped it off, and they reacted. We poked the bear, they reacted, and then it was obviously a great battle back and forth throughout that game.
Amazing game. That was one of the ones that you guys dropped. It was the Cleveland Gary, right? Right by the goal line.
Yep.
Is that correct? And it was a touchdown, but they said it wasn't.
Well, they looked at it, and a lot of confusion, and I think part of the confusion was it was fourth down, and I believe some of the referees felt like it was fourth and goal. It was actually like fourth and maybe 4 from just outside, maybe the 6-yard line, somewhere around that. Well, so as he dove, the ball hits the ground and then it squirts out. And they were trying to decide, was it a first down? And then no, that was actually a fumble. And so there was a lot of confusion amongst the referees there. I don't think they got the call right, obviously. And we did end up stopping them and coming back and scoring. And then we went for 2. And had we scored there, we would have kicked the extra point to tie the game, and then it was just going to be on our defense. If we would have got a stop, we would have got the ball back to drive down and score the winning touchdown or field goal at that point.
Obviously somebody who's really disappointed after a game like that is Jimmy Johnson, but I can only imagine what you learned from him. A lot of his image now is like, for lack of better word, soft and cuddly, and here's Jimmy, but like you had the fire and brimstone guy who got the most out of his players, like just squeezed it out of you guys. What was your experience like playing for him? And did you understand then that he was getting the most out of you? And really that is what it was all about? Like, this guy's making me a better man and a better player?
Yeah, I mean, he was just masterful at how he pushed the buttons and how he approached the team. And I learned so many things as a football coach later on in my life, and how he did things. And he was brilliant in his approach, and he obviously applied that approach to the NFL and became hugely successful, a Hall of Famer. And but one of the big takeaways I had was the Sunday after the game. We all come in, you run a little bit, you lift some weights, and you watch the film. So he starts the team meeting and he shows the play with Cleveland diving. Obviously, the ball hits the ground and then squirts out. And he turns the film off and he turns to the team and said, "Hey, that play is over. It didn't go the way we wanted, but we are immediately going to assess every position on the team. And if we have the wrong guys playing, we're going to make some changes." So he immediately pivoted and refocused the team, not complaining about a call that didn't go our way, but I better work my butt off to keep my job.
Yeah.
And that was brilliant. I loved that. That was one of the most impactful things that he did, coming out of that moment. There was nothing you're going to appeal or change. So let's just adjust. And that's what we did. And we went on a tear, and, our defense was incredible the rest of the year. And his deal was let's make it really tough for the voters not to say, "Hey, Miami should be number 1."
Yeah. And so that led to a lot of real beatdowns, right? Of the opposition, and Miami didn't take their foot off the gas. You guys did not. And a lot of people took issue with that. Like, as the quarterback of teams like that, like how did you care at all, or did that even seep into your mentality, or it was just like, we are going to kill everyone?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the big thing was the blowout going back to, what was it, 85 against Jerry Faust.
Jerry Faust was his last game.
And but it was really about playing our best. And then if the backup gets an opportunity to go in the game because the starters did their job, Jimmy's mentality was Why are we gonna, as a quarterback, just go in and ask him to hand off? We got to see what this kid can do. We got to see what these receivers can do, what this O line can do. It's not fair to them. They work out and they lift and they run and they condition and do all the things that we ask our starters to do. Why not give them a chance for a little bit of reward? And so we continue to call our offense, irregardless of the score, because it was an evaluation point, and that's always Jimmy's, probably his greatest asset as a coach was his ability to evaluate and put people in the right position.
So I'm watching this Cowboys documentary, and it's great. I mean, you could nitpick it and whatever, but it's a lot of fun, right? It's a cool history to dive back there.
Well, listen, let me just stop you there. I don't know how much fun it was. I went out to LA. I interviewed for like an hour and a half, and then the director calls me and says, "Hey, Steve, we're not going to use your stuff."
That's what I'm about to say. The glaring omission from dude, they totally skip over. That was a huge part of that whole team and the development of that dynasty was when you get taken in the supplemental draft after Troy gets taken first. So this is great. Screw them. I get the first shot at this. All right, we're taking this off the cutting room floor. What was that like for you to be thrust into that situation by a guy who I would imagine is a great mentor of yours, Jimmy Johnson?
Yeah, I mean, he picked me up from the airport. He's like, "Hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to trade you if the right opportunity comes along." But he really did like having two guys. Obviously he had a high level of trust with me. He knew Troy. He recruited Troy back when Troy was coming out of high school. So he knew Troy and his reputation and what kind of person Troy was. So he felt like he was going to be able to trust Troy, but he really liked the idea of having two guys, although we were young, two quarterbacks going in and competing. He loved, like any coach, you love competition. And, I mean, I knew I wasn't necessarily in it for the long haul, but I was going to go in and learn and get, when I had my opportunity, I was going to try to take advantage of it. And that's what happened. I got to start 5 games. We won the one game that we won all season.
Yeah.
But because I was able to do that, I was able to play 11 years. I mean, if I don't get that opportunity as a rookie, who knows what happens? Certainly the Saints don't trade for me, when they needed a starting quarterback. And, so that opportunity gave me an opportunity to have chances to make a very successful career. Could have been more successful had I stuck as a starter, but irregardless, started 40 games and, won more than I lost. And, it was good. So and the other thing was, it was such a young team, because he was turning over the roster. Daryl Johnson was a rookie, Mark Stepnowski, obviously Michael Irvin just going into his second year. Emmett came the next year. Obviously Troy for certain, a big part of that. And, so it was kind of nice to be around a bunch of young guys trying to figure out the NFL.
So it is. I just want to go back a little bit because it's super interesting. I would imagine Jimmy Johnson came into your living room, right, and recruited you in Minnesota. And now
he didn't want to, but he did. Yeah.
So then he's picked you up from the airport. And I was recruited to play in college. Like, I know what those relationships are like. It's kind of like a father-son deal in a way. It can be. So he picks you up at the airport when you're going to play for the Cowboys. And he explains to you, like, look, this is going to be an opportunity for you to get a ton of great tape out there and really be a part of things. But when the opportunity comes along, like, he was that transparent with you, I'm going to put you in the spot.
Yeah, he was. I mean, it was like, he's, they always throw in, hey, you go into camp and you compete. I mean, you just don't know how guys are going to react. Obviously, Troy was an incredible talent, but he had, when you win that many games, coach quarterback type relationship, similar to what, ultimately what Brady and Belichick had, right? There's just a trust level that is hard to replace until you do it with the next guy. So, that was something that him and I had because we had been through the battles. He saw how I prepared. He saw how I handled adversity, and was obviously confident in my ability.
It's funny. You look back at that situation. It's like, okay, That team didn't win, but it seems like everybody in life really won. Like Troy obviously got that competitive juice or whatever. I'm sure you helped him along the way. Jimmy got a lot out of you and probably more out of Troy. And then you end up in New Orleans with a fresh opportunity. And you really, like you said, you get a chance to play 10 years in the NFL or 12 years, whatever it was.
Yeah. I mean, the funny side story to that is, so in 1990, I get traded to the Saints at the trade deadline. I start 2 weeks later, and it was just a roller coaster, up and down, up and down. Well, Troy gets hurt late in the season, and they played the backup. And
Steve Berline, right?
No, it wasn't Berline yet.
Babe Loffenberg?
It might have been Babe.
Yeah, it was.
And Babe struggled a little bit, and they lost a couple games down the stretch. So they finished 7-9. New Orleans, my team now, is playing. I believe they still played on Monday night. It could have been Sunday night. I know it was a primetime game, but we had to win to get in. If we lost, the Cowboys go to the playoffs. And it's funny, that game came down to the wire, and it was a third down play. And ironically, it was a play that I had put in from the Cowboys into our offense. And I requested that play on the third down. I hit Eric Martin, a big receiver from LSU. He runs down the sideline, gets us in field goal range. Morton Anderson kicks a 30-yard field goal to win. We go to the playoffs. Cowboys go home.
These are the best stories. I so appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Couple more for you before I let you get back to life. Was there what was the vibe between you and Troy? I got to ask you that before we move on, because people don't know. We hear about it. Nobody knows what that kind of competition is or what it's like to be a quarterback in the NFL trying to beat out somebody who was a number one pick. What were the vibes like personally?
I mean, it was cold in the fact that, here's Troy, number one overall pick, had a great college resume, even after Miami broke his leg when he was at Oklahoma to go to UCLA. And, then all of a sudden the guy brings in his college quarterback. Well, what? So, he was not happy. I get it. I totally get it. But then, it became, I don't necessarily know if he was threatened by me. I certainly was there just to gain experience and get reps. But really, it was Babe Loffenberg that held that room together. And Babe got such a great sense of humor, and he made Troy laugh. He and obviously that helps lighten the mood. And ultimately, as the season wore on, and at the end of the season, Troy and I feel like we were in a good place. And then once I moved on and I'd see him at an event, we were totally cool together. And he obviously went on and had his Hall of Fame career. But yeah, early on, I can totally understand why he was standoffish. And I think a little bit that was his nature, his personality, is the way I read it. So we moved on, and I don't feel like there was any backstabbing going on like some quarterback competitions can be. I mean, we were just all trying to figure out the NFL. And I remember he started the first game, and we played the New Orleans Saints, and they had a great defense, and came to the sideline. He goes, "Steve, what are they doing?" I'm like, I have no idea. They were spinning safeties left and right. They had so many exotic looking coverages, and we couldn't figure it out, or we certainly couldn't on the sideline.
So when you move on, you mentioned New Orleans, you evolve as a quarterback, you're Chicago, Tampa Bay, you end up in Indianapolis. What was something about your career that people really don't know about, you think, that would surprise folks about being, a quarterback in the NFL for more than a decade?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a challenging position because, the quarterback position is about making decisions. And if you have a bad day making decisions, your team's going to lose. And, I always tell younger quarterbacks, I said, you've never arrived. And Brett Favre and I talked about this one time. He's like, you go out there, there's so much pressure on you and your right arm, left arm for some, what you do with it determines the fate of a lot of people. And, that's a lot of pressure, but you got to continue to go through your process. And I think, for me, it was just people knew that I was not going to lose a football game for them. And that is a very valuable attribute as a quarterback. Don't just give the ball away. Don't just give the game away with turnovers and poor decisions. People valued my ability to process and make good decisions, be risk averse, if you will, with the football. And that helped me in Chicago, where Eric Kramer was signed to be the quarterback. I was signed to be the backup. But over the course of that year, it turned in my favor, and we went on to the playoffs. We won a first-round game in Minnesota, and then got whiplash by the freight train of the 49ers, who were giving bonuses to guys if they won the Super Bowl. So they were pretty motivated. So.
That's the one thing. I think it's Carmen Policy or Eddie DeBartolo. They say in that documentary, our currency was Super Bowls. Like, we didn't make a ton of money like the other teams, but like you mentioned, those incentives in the postseason, like our currency was Super Bowl wins. And man, yeah, what a dynasty. All right, couple more for you. Peyton Manning, your final year in the NFL, I guess you're his backup, right?
Yep.
Any memories there, like opportunities that you got to pour this knowledge you're sharing with us into him? Like, how did you help him along?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, I met Peyton when he was 16 years old. And so I'm at the Saints. Archie Manning, of course, his father, a big part of that franchise. And Peyton would literally come out to what they now call maybe OTAs or quarterback schools back then. And we would have Peyton step in the huddle, call a play, and then run a rep. Now, I don't think that our fearsome linebacking core was coming full speed at him, but like that was the kid's experience and background. And he is a gym rat. He loves football. He loved watching Monday Night Football when he wasn't playing and going out and having a beer or two. He loved it. So when they signed me to be his backup, Jim Mora was the coach, and he was my coach at New Orleans. Archie, I'm sure went to Peyton and said, "Hey, you can trust this guy," And so we had a really good relationship. We would watch film together on our own on Wednesday. On Thursday, we'd watch about an hour of film together, and I would run it like a quarterback meeting, like my college quarterback coach would do. Hey, what's the coverage? Give me a play. What are we trying to attack? What's the front? What's the best run? And I would just drill him, and he loved it because he was a gym rat. And at least I think he loved it. And then I'd go home to my family. He'd stay there for another 2 hours. But, he's just a grinder, and he had incredible vision. He had obviously great accuracy and everything else. But he just was a gym rat and just absorbed it. And quite honestly, he was probably in the best overall system from complexity, which was Tom Moore's system. Bruce Arians was the quarterback coach. It was an incredible staff, and he had a lot of freedom at the line of scrimmage. And he'd get frustrated sometimes. I'm like, Peyton, there's 31 other quarterbacks that would love to be in the system. Just deal with it.
Are you still pouring this knowledge in? Are you still coaching? I know you.
Yeah.
I know you were around, obviously, in the CFL.
Yeah.
I'm
taking the year. I am taking this year off. But I've been coaching high school, and I coached in the CFL, which is a really fun league, and for 5 years, and on and off high school for about a dozen years, and no, it's something that I talk to quarterbacks all the time, and one of the old veteran offensive line coaches, Bob Wiley, told me this when we were coaching together in Canada. He goes, it's almost more important what you don't say is what you say. So you got to be careful by giving them too much information. But, I can coach up the soft skills really easy. Like, hey, you got to go talk to your teammates. You got to go talk to your offensive line. You got to, there's just different things that, the quarterback position you have to do as kind of the central point and the appointed leader of the offense.
Steve Walsh, dude, thank you so much for hopping on. This was a ton of fun for me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't get on the final director cut, but in all fairness, I did lead him to some stories, and he goes, Steve, I got so much good stuff that we just glossed over the '89 season. So, and I haven't watched it yet. I gotta get.
I think you'll enjoy it. I think it is BS that you're not in it, but whatever. that stuff happens in life. But yeah, I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm sure I will.
All right, Steve. Thanks, man.
Appreciate
you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Pete. See you.
See you. Oh, Scotty, could you tell I was having fun? Oh man, that was amazing. I mean, literally, Steve Walsh was. I think he spent some time with me in my bedroom on the wall as a kid. The Sports Illustrated cover. It was the man, dude. The Miami Hurricanes were a big part of my life growing up, and his pro career was right there the whole time. So that was pretty cool to chat with him. All right, the Pete Sousa Show coming back on the other side. We'll wrap it up here on a Friday. Take it easy.
Dive into adventure with scuba.com, your ultimate destination for top-tier scuba and snorkeling gear. With over 20 years of experience, our expert staff, who've dived everywhere from the Galapagos to the Maldives, provides personalized advice to help you find the perfect gear for any underwater journey. Shop leading brands like GoPro, Aqualung, and Scuba Pro. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, trust scuba.com for the best in diving equipment and expert guidance. Explore now at scuba.com. That's SCUBA.com. Scuba.com. At Fullwell, we bring together the expertise of registered dietitians, MDs, and OBGYNs to give you the best fertility support. Our research-backed bioavailable formulas are crafted with your health in mind, ensuring the highest quality and safety. From preconception to pregnancy and beyond, we exceed industry standards with independent testing for harmful contaminants. With our comprehensive practitioner directory, personalized care is always within reach. Fullwell, your trusted partner on your fertility journey. Visit us at fullwellfertility.com. Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. We put every machine through 6,000 rigorous tests to guarantee long-lasting performance. With cutting-edge technology and a commitment to energy efficiency, Gevi makes your life easier, greener, and more convenient. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at gevi.com to discover more. That's gevi.com.
With San, owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium. We use the finest materials like Italian top-grain leather, known for its durability and luxurious feel, and apply meticulous attention to detail in every piece we create. Our replicas are crafted with the same care and precision as the originals, but a price that makes them accessible. With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at san.com.
At Covers & All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. Using advanced tech fabrics that are 100% waterproof, UV tear, and abrasion resistant, we ensure lasting durability with hand-sewn double-stitch seams. Our commitment to quality, precision engineering, and customizable options is unmatched. With vertically integrated operations and express shipping, we deliver premier protection at affordable prices. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels, our rebounders improve accuracy, control, and technique in both sports. Built with premium materials for durability and ease of use, they're ideal for training anywhere, anytime. Whether you're perfecting your soccer game or sharpening your lacrosse skills, Open Goal USA has you covered. Visit OpenGoAAALusa.com and elevate your training today.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious. Find your blend at hempdelicious.com.
Introducing Muck-Off's classic pink bike cleaner, powered by revolutionary nanotechnology that breaks down dirt and grime on a microscopic level while protecting your bike's delicate finish. Developed by our mad developer Alex and tested by riders, our products are made by riders for riders. Discover more at us.muc-off.com, where we break the mold to bring you the best in bike care.
Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com.
Wrapping up the Pete Sousa Show. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We're going to be back Monday with the live show. Next week's going to be crazy. Leading up to the Baylor game, leading up to the game I have at Houston, the Green and Gold show here by the Rogue Media Network. You can watch on KWTX before the Baylor-Auburn game, a 3-hour tour like Gilligan's Island, except you're not going to get lost. You're going to find it, baby. You're going to find everything you need on that show, the Green and Gold show. And then Please Bear With Me's coming back. Swingler, when's that first episode? You don't have to get on mic. You just tell me. Sunday night. Damn,
Sunday
Scotty,
evening.
add one more thing to the
Sunday evening. Terrence Ganaway, Scotty Swingler, Daryl Dapprich of Locked On Auburn, and maybe we are efforting Gary Bohannon.
That's what I'm talking about. Gary Bohannon's one of the coolest guys. And I love talking to him when Scotty set that up a little bit back. All right, we're out of here. Have a great weekend.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is Stark.
We are Rogue Media Sports.